Welcome back, everybody. Today we got Big Kish giving us some news on the Diddy trial. Let's see what's going on.
Yo, Big Kish back up in here. I got some pistachios in my mouth. I'm trying to get these pistachios in my mouth. But the P. Diddy trial just has started, y'all. We got none other than my man KB Goes Live giving it an intense, extensive breakdown on jury selection and, all that court stuff that I don't know nothing about. You know what I mean? But I'm going to leave a link in the description. Y'all know I'm like holding y'all. Without further ado, let's get it.
All right, so the Diddy trial has begun. As of yesterday, jury selection started. The court had a jury pool of about 150 people. And yesterday, they started the process of trying to find 12 individuals that are going to be impartial when it comes to the evidence in this case. The other day, I made a video.
So they looking for people that's not going to be like, secret fans of Diddy or secret haters of Diddy. They looking for people that's not going to be biased in any type of way, so they can have a clean cut decision when they make that decision.
Talking about what to expect when the trial starts, and I told y'all that jury selection is going to be paramount to the outcome of this trial. Finding people that don't have some kind of bias towards the type of situations that they are going to be looking at during the course of this trial is going to be a task, but they have started that task. Yesterday was day one, and they were not able to seat not one single juror. Now they're expected to go through about 50 jurors a day during this qualification process, and they do expect that trial will start next week. Of the people they interviewed yesterday, 19 of those prospective jurors were deemed qualified to proceed to the next phase of the selection process. And in order for this trial to start and opening statements to be given, they need 12 actual jurors seated and 6 backup jurors in case something happens to one of the jurors in the case during the course of the trial. Anyways, a lot has happened in the last day or two, right? Including we got to look at what questions the jurors were asked. There was a lot of speculation about what questions were going to be allowed to be asked to either qualify or disqualify these jurors. I actually have a copy of the questionnaire that the jurors were provided. And in this questionnaire, they asked jurors.
Y'all check this out. This is real interesting right here. This is preliminary instruction
about a lot of things. They had the regular questions like, do circumstances exist that would make serving on this jury a hardship for you or an inconvenience for you, right? So pretty normal questions. But then they also had questions in here like, were these potential jurors going to be okay with seeing graphic videos and photographs, sexually explicit videos and photographs? If they or anybody in their family has ever been the victim of SA, have they ever been charged?
Why is this? Because anybody could be triggered, and then their decision towards if Diddy is guilty or innocent is going to be biased towards what they feel triggered about. So they're going to have to comb through a whole lot of people, y'all. They're going to be scavenging the streets of wherever they at, New York. They're going to be scavenging the streets. Oh, we need people. They're going to be bringing in people, y'all.
With SA or domestic violence, if they have read, seen, or heard anything about Diddy and the criminal charges that were brought against him, if they have ever made any post on social media or liked any social media post about Diddy, right? So these are the type of questions that they are asking the jury. And because of how widely televised and publicized this entire situation has been,
we got to stick that tongue out. See, we got to put that, hey, look. I hope you don't be in court with that tongue out. They're gonna get you up out of here. You go up in there licking your lips to the judge, it's gonna be a problem. Telling you.
People that are going to say no to some of those questions is going to be a hard task to complete. Now, getting into what happened yesterday and today, we seen them mention Michael B. Jordan. We heard them mention Diddy's ex, Kim Porter. We had one juror that apparently worked for HBO. HBO obviously is the company that put out the documentary The Fall of Diddy. Apparently one of the jurors works at HBO. Now, the juror didn't have any involvement in making that documentary,
but that's how serious they is. Look how close he was to even He didn't have nothing to do with them making the movie, right? But he just worked for HBO. They said, nah, you ain't gonna make the cut.
Because she works for the company that did. There were some problems that arise from that. We'll get into it in a second. We seen Diddy show up for the first time in clothing that wasn't prison attire. Also, notably, none of his family was in the audience for jury selection. They've been there in the past for him at pretty much every court date since this whole thing started, but none of his family was present in the courtroom yesterday. We got reports that Diddy apparently told the judge that he was nervous and had to take numerous bathroom breaks because of that. It's been wild so far. So apparently Diddy showed up with a dark colored pullover and pants. He wasn't allowed to have shoes that had shoestrings. And apparently he showed up with a ton of gray hair and a...
They ain't got that dye up in there, boy. What's that called? What is it called, the dye? Beijing. They ain't got that Beijing up in there, boy. They ain't got that Bay up in there. Word is bond. I came out there looking like Santa. Word up.
A goatee. He pretty much showed up looking like a Boy Scout, but it means that jurors won't have to see him in his prison attire, which is a good thing because Diddy is presumed innocent until proven guilty. The jury should be able to look at him in normal clothes like a normal person. Having him in prison attire could like subconsciously bias them to him. So there's that. Now getting into what happened during jury selection, apparently it was revealed that jurors are not going to be disqualified in this case if they seen the footage of Diddy whooping Cassie's ass in the hallway, right? Normally something like that would disqualify jurors because obviously that means that they've seen some of the coverage of this trial. They've seen something regarding it. They may have been able to form a conclusion about this before they ever made it to the jury pool. But the judge said, and I quote, "We're not going to be able to have a jury that has..."
Damn, that was funny. He said whooping Cassie ass.
Not seen any of this footage, referencing that widely circulated video, right? So that was a huge development. And sure enough, when they were asked, the jurors were asked if they had ever seen this footage. A few of them did acknowledge that they had in fact been familiar with that footage. And also a few of them said that they had heard jokes about the whole baby oil situation. That was...
Yo, you gotta be hiding under a rock if you ain't heard about this Diddy situation. It's gonna be hard to find some people. I'm telling you. I think what they got 5 and 12.
Was found in his residence. Remember, they found like 1,000 bottles of baby oil when they were doing their searches at Diddy's properties. A few of the jurors said that they had heard about those jokes or heard those jokes. That also did not exclude any of them from potentially serving on the jury. There were a list of high-profile names or potential witnesses that might be mentioned or called during this trial. A good example of that is Kid Cudi. Kid Cudi's name comes up because when Cassie initially filed her civil lawsuit against Diddy, she accused him of orchestrating an arson attack on Kid Cudi's car back in 2012. She pretty much said that he blew up Kid Cudi's car in an attempt to get rid of him. So they presented this list of possible witnesses to the jury to ask them if they were familiar with any of their situations or them. Right? And I don't know if we're going to see Kid Cudi in this trial. I don't know if he is going to...
Man, they said they hung Wale off a balcony for working with Cassie. Hung Wale off a balcony, boy.
Be a witness, but they did mention his name. Other people who were on that list, which there were 200 individuals on that list, but a few other people were Michael B. Jordan. We don't know why Michael B. Jordan's name was mentioned. There was no context added. We don't know what he has to do with this case, but they asked if the jury was familiar with him. Kim Porter, which was a longtime partner of Diddy, was also included on that list. Kim Porter actually passed away under suspicious circumstances back in, I believe, 2018. There was actually a book.
Kim Porter's pretty. I don't know what he was thinking. When you think with you know what I'm saying? You just be...
Book titled Kim's Last Words that claimed to be a collection of her diaries, and those quote-unquote diaries had some disturbing allegations against Combs. Now that book has actually been publicly refuted by Kim Porter's kids. They've questioned the authenticity of it, stating that their mom didn't author such a manuscript, but her name was on that list of people the jury was asked to look over, likely to see if anybody is familiar with all of the conspiracies surrounding it. But when it came to the jurors jurors themselves. Several prospective jurors were actually excused due to potential biases or conflicts. One example is that there was a high-level Simon & Schuster publishing executive that was dismissed after it came to light that her company had actually published a book by an author named Z.B. Hill that contained allegations against Combs. Right, she was excused. But in another case, there was a woman who worked as a photo producer at HBO. Like I said earlier, HBO is who aired the documentary titled The Fall of Diddy. She said that she had no involvement with that project. And even though the defense requested that she be removed due to her ties with the company that put that documentary out, the judge actually allowed her to stay in the jury pool with the note that she may be questioned in a later phase of this about her knowledge of the film, but she was allowed to stay. And then yesterday, right as court was adjourned, a potential issue with one of the witnesses was revealed. The defense noted that prosecutors might choose not to call one of the 3 anonymous accusers.
Hey, the illustrations got him looking bad, boy. Telling you. They got him look like Morgan Freeman up in that motherfucker.
In the filings as victim 3. Remember, there's victim 1, which people believe to be Cassie, and then there was 3 more women whose stories and statements and testimony is the backbone of this case. And the prosecutor in this case, Maureen Comey, explained that victim 3's attorney had been unresponsive and quote unquote difficult to communicate with, and that the witness, who apparently doesn't live locally, may not show up to testify despite having been subpoenaed. This was a big development as it raises the possibility that one of the alleged victims' testimony could be dropped from the trial entirely. That was pretty big information. All right, and then we get into today, day 2 of jury selection. And so far, 6 of the first 7 prospective jurors that were questioned today have been disqualified. One woman was dismissed after admitting that things she heard about the case caused her to lean negatively in her view about Diddy. She told the judge, quote, "I guess I lean towards him having committed the crimes, but I don't know." With that statement, the defense obviously argued that she couldn't presume innocence, so she needed to be dismissed. Some of the other jurors were excused for a range of bias concerns. One woman openly wondered if Combs' access to enormous wealth could unfairly influence the trial's outcome, which obviously raised red flags. Another juror, whose son works as an assistant district attorney, said she was unsure whether she could be unbiased towards the prosecution. That led to her removal. There was a male candidate that disclosed a medical issue, traveling to court. And then there was a real estate broker who said that he had seen the infamous 2016 video of Combs and Cassie and hesitated when he was asked if it affected his impressions. He admitted that he was unsure, which prompted the judge to strike him for cause. Another juror was dismissed for violating the judge's explicit instructions to avoid any media coverage about this. He told them yesterday, do not go home and look at any media coverage. Apparently, this juror admitted to the judge that after he left court yesterday, he had clicked on a news article about the trial while riding the Metro North train home, confessing, "I shouldn't have done it, but I did." Now, there was also this.
I think these might be people who just don't want to be involved in it. Yeah, like don't nobody want to be involved in this, man. And then it's gonna be hard to find somebody to be unbiased in any type of way, or it's gonna be hard to find somebody that don't know about the situation. This is Puff we talking about. Everybody know him. That's like saying Jay-Z or Snoop Dogg and say everybody know these people.
Situation with Mark Garagos. Mark Garagos is a criminal defense lawyer. His daughter is also a criminal defense lawyer, and she is part of Diddy's legal team. And while Garagos himself has not formally filed an appearance in this case to represent Diddy, he was observed talking with the defense in court. The prosecutors sent a letter to a judge requesting that Garagos be admonished for public remarks that he made recently about the trial. And to be admonished just basically means to be reprimanded or warned not to be taking part in this case, because he's not an official lawyer on the case. And just a few days ago, Mark Garagos appeared on a podcast with TMZ's Harvey Levin, and during this podcast he characterized the prosecution's use of the Cassie assault video as a character assassination. He discussed the case at length and commented that the all-female prosecution team had the look of prosecuting prosecuting a cause instead of a person, potentially undermining the prosecutor's impartiality. The government argued that these statements could interfere with a fair trial, and they wanted the court to basically remind Garagos about a gag order that was put in place about this. Now, the judge did not address this matter in open court today, basically effectively sidestepping the issue for now. But as of midday today, no jurors have officially been seated on the panel yet. The vetting process is still ongoing. The judge has said that he wants to qualify a pool of 45 potential jurors before they move into getting the final 12 and the 6 alternates who can ultimately judge this case. The plan remains as of right now for jury selection to conclude by the end of the week. So far, jury selection has been pretty wild. There are going to be more details come out about this as the week goes on. When jury selection is done, we will get into the official trial. But for right now, that's what we got.
That's what we got, y'all. I appreciate you, KB. But yeah, we're gonna stay in the loop. I'm gonna keep y'all in the loop. I'm gonna be reacting to some Diddy trial stuff. And y'all let me know. Is he innocent or is he guilty? Did he do it? Did he not do it? Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all think they gonna find these 12 like they need? They're gonna have to comb through a lot of people. Somebody just might pass those little tests and really be biased. You never know. You never know. They said they getting like 50 people a day. Dang. Just to narrow it down to 12 people. But it's here. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who he paid off. I don't know what's going on as far as... Now you see that
Shout out to biggkish. He gonna keep us in tune with this Diddy case. Let us know what's going on. Appreciate y'all for tuning back. Hit the like button. This case is really just starting. I don't know how long this case is gonna go, but I think we're gonna be in for a long one though. They picking through everybody to see who's gonna fit, to see what's what. So hey, y'all just stay tuned, man, and just gonna roll through this case together. Shout out to biggkish. Y'all go follow him for more videos, more content. And other than that, I catch y'all after these messages. We'll be right back.